Hello, 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 Periscopers. It's an absolutely glorious April day here. It's like a summer's day. I posted a photograph just a short while ago, about an hour ago, and I had a little wander around the garden with a cup of tea, and it's absolutely glorious out there. Can't quite believe it's April in Northumberland. Hi, Tiana. and welcome. Today, I'm actually going to be talking about prioritising when you're running a business and you're running your home and you've got a family. Hi, lovely to see you. It's always nice when people say hi. I've actually been missing for a few days, so I'll maybe talk about that a bit later because it kind of links to what I'm talking about today. But please do invite followers, share, click the little Perry dude down in the bottom there. That would be fab. So, as I say, today I want to talk about prioritising. That's actually came from a question from one of my first scopes a couple of weeks ago. When someone was saying, well, I was talking about prioritising. Hi, Gemma. I was talking about prioritising and, she said, well, it's not easy to do, is it, when you're running a business from home and you've got a family? I kind of know, but that's a really good topic to talk about for next time, because it isn't. Most of the people that I work with, hi Kelly, welcome. Most of the people that I work with do run a business, most of them from home, and they also have a family. So it's a really important topic, and I think it's particularly appropriate for women, but I guess I mainly work with women anyway. So please do invite people to come along, give me a little heart to say hi, say hello, and invite and share on Facebook and Twitter. That'd be fabulous. Okay, so if you don't know me, lovely, thank you. If you don't know me, my name is Julie Johnson, and I work mainly with solo professionals, women who are running their own business, and help them kind of cut through all of that white noise and all of the everyday challenges that you're presented with, both in business and in life, so that you can make the best decisions for you and your business, so that you can start to get really laser focused when you know what you want to concentrate on and what's best for you. And you can build a business that actually works for you as well as works for your clients, gives you a sustainable income, and allows you to have a happy life, because I don't think they're necessarily separate. I went into business, and I think a lot of women go into business for similar kind of reasons. Maybe when they've started a family and they want to spend more time with the family and they don't want to be commuting and spending really long hours at work. So it's an important issue, and there's two areas I think it's important to focus on. So I thought, actually, because I would split it into two. The first is about how do you prioritise between business and your home and family life. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. And then once you have that sorted, then it's important to look at what you prioritise or how you prioritise in your business, because I don't believe you can do that one really effectively until you've got this first in place. So what do we need to think about? Well, there are actually three areas, or three steps, if you like, that's really important to think about and make some decisions on. And the first one is actually decide. And that's about deciding when you're going to be working and when you're not. So what's going to be best for you? And I say so many people who haven't kind of done this, who haven't sat down and said, right, this is going to be best for me and my business, so that I'm not absolutely pulled in all directions, and I can focus on business when I'm doing business, and I can focus on family and home life when I'm not there. So if you've got preschool children, then it may be that you've got to work evenings, weekends. That's going to be best for you, or when that child is asleep. If you've got school-age children, which my two were when I started my business, then is it going to be best for you to work particular hours between dropping off at school and picking up from school? That's the first thing, is to decide. The second thing is to actually then commit to that. And again, sounds kind of, yeah, that's straightforward, but isn't always that simple. So what do I mean by commitment? I mean, schedule something in your diary. So if you've decided that all day on a Tuesday, for instance, you're going to work, or you're going to work between 10 and 2 every day, then actually put that in your diary. It's always easier to say no to other things when you've got something scheduled in your diary already. Even if at the moment it's just work. We'll be exploring what it'll be, what you're going to put within that work in terms of priorities tomorrow. So it means scheduling. Commitment also means having conversations with the people that you need to have the conversations with. So for instance, for me, when I set up in business, it was a very definite decision to only work 2 days a week, and they were 2 full days. And I had the conversation with my husband, because I'd already been working part-time for someone else, and we'd arranged it so that he could actually start a little bit later and finish earlier a couple of days a week and work longer the other days. Then that allowed me to have that time on those 2 days, which was a Tuesday and Thursday. Now, if you don't have those conversations, it can be really easy to get sucked into doing other things, other people, taking up your time. So you need to have commitment from other people as well, I guess, as you being committed yourself. The other thing that you need to do is to set up some kind of structure to support you. So that's part of committing. Now, some people called me a cruel mum actually when my 2 were younger, because one of the main things, well, actually, maybe that was when they got a bit older. One of the main things I did, I work from this office. This is my home office. And when that door was closed, my 2 children were under strict instructions that meant I was not to be disturbed. I was working with a client, and nothing save a dire emergency. And even then I had to discuss what an emergency would be. Has anybody else had that kind of conversation? Yeah, maybe. Well, that's one of the structures that I kind of set up. So I'd had the conversation with my husband. If I had some work that I'd scheduled in when the children were at home, because as they got a bit older, that was okay, then I had to have the conversations with them in order to set that up, to set that structure up. Now, of course, the third step, once you've made a decision and then you've committed, you've set up that structure, you've had the conversations, you've got the time in your diary, the third step is actually to implement. And when I say implement, I mean that means ruthlessly guarding that time. So if you've said, I'm going to be working for these 3 hours or these 4 hours, then that's what you do. Not, I'll just put a load in the washing machine, or I'll just pop down to the shops, or now, to be honest, I do that kind of thing now, but I didn't at first because I needed to get a real structure and a real schedule in place, that people knew that when I was in the office or when I was working, hi Sharon, nice to see you, when I was in the office or working, then thank you. We're talking about prioritisation, and today I'm just focusing on how to do that between work and home and family life. So we've covered 3 steps. The first is decide on the hours you want to work. Second is commit, which means getting that time in the diary. It means having the conversations with the people you need to have conversations with to allow you to actually keep that time as work time, and setting up some kind of structure or system that will support you. So that might mean letting the neighbours know, or letting your parents know, or anyone else who might just pop over because they think you're not working because you're at home. It may also mean not answering the telephone. If you know that somebody calls at a certain time, now it depends on your business. It depends whether you'd be, reliant on calls coming in for your business. But whatever structure is going to work for you, that's what you kind of need to be thinking about and committing to in order to get this. I guess we're talking mainly about work-life balance. So this third step is about implementing, and it's about being ruthless in guarding that time. And it's being consistent in your approach, because even when you have conversations, it was the same when I was managing staff. You can have a conversation with someone and they can say that they agree and they commit to, I won't disturb you at those times, or whatever the agreement is. And then what do you find? A knock on the door, or someone calling you, or whatever. So you need to be quite ruthless You can do that in a nice way. I mean, ruthless about guarding your time, not ruthless with the person. You can have the conversations with the person, but it's about being persistent in that approach and giving the same kind of consistent message until people get it. So I was talking about my children. Well, you know, I used to do that when I worked in an office when I was a manager. I had set times that my staff knew I was not to be disturbed. And actually I did, the door was closed at that point. And at first I actually had a sign up, and still people came in. So people will test. And that's one of the issues, is that when you've decided and when you've committed, then really implement and be consistent and be persistent. You've got to do that in order to give this a chance. So anybody think that they may fall down in one of those areas, because I can guarantee that if it's not working, if you've not kind of got the right work-life balance, or you don't feel like you're able to prioritise particularly well between home and family life and business on the other hand, then it will be one of those areas. It'll be that you haven't actually made a definite decision about what's going to work best for you. You may have made a decision, maybe you haven't committed to that, so you haven't had the conversations that you've needed to have. Hi Gemma, oh, I think we've dropped out and come back in again. I'm just checking which of these three areas people have most difficulty with, because I can guarantee that if things aren't working for you, then it is running to work. So are you home-based, Sharon? Because I'm not sure there where that fits yet until I know a little bit more. So either you've not decided, you've not committed, or you're not implementing ruthlessly. So it may be that you're not home-based and you're saying that you're constantly running to work. Well, that to me would be about setting up some kind of structure that allows you, where possible, and it may not work all of the time, I grant you. I mean, we'll talk about there are exceptions and things aren't always set in stone, but you've got to, this is about trying to help yourself so that you're prioritising what's really important to you. And so that when you're at work, you're focusing on work, and when you're at home and with the family, that's what you're focusing on. So what kind of exceptions might there be? Well, you may or may not have noticed, but I actually haven't done a Periscope for the last 2 days. And that's because I made a decision that my mum was poorly and that my dad needed help and I wanted to go and help, which meant that I kind of dropped everything. I'd already planned only half a day on Monday because I was going to a funeral anyway. But it meant that I didn't have time. I was still going to do a Periscope. It meant that just kind of went out the window. Yeah. And what it also meant was that some of the things that I'd wanted to do on Monday, because I was actually launching a new course, a new online course, a decision-making course, some of the things that I wanted to do on that first day actually got put back to Tuesday, which means I made a decision that I didn't have time to do the Periscope on Tuesday. So I'd kind of decided and committed in my own mind and set things up so that I had an hour each day to work on, to do a little bit of a plan of what I was going to deliver, to do a live stream, and then to upload and kind of get the information up and out to people. And the last 2 days, that just wasn't possible because I decided I prioritised differently and I prioritised family. So I know that there will be exceptions, but that only works if it's an exception. If that's the rule, if that's the way you work normally, that you just drop everything all of the time and go off and do whatever seems to be pulling on your attention most, then it's never going to feel right for you. It's never going to feel like you've got the best work-life balance. And of course, the other thing I guess it's worth mentioning is that this isn't set in stone. So I'm not saying make a decision, commit, implement, and be really ruthless about that and always stick to that, because our circumstances change, our business changes, family situation changes. So there may be times where you have to come back and review your decision. Is it working? Can it work better if you work it differently? So do I need to decide to work different times, different hours, different days, whatever that is? So if there's if you got value from this, just share me some hearts there, because I know there's not many people on at the moment, but excellent, Sharon. So it'd be nice to know actually whether you work from home or whether you're doing both. You're working from home and you're working from outside of the home. So 3 areas to focus on when you're thinking about work-life balance. Decide, make a definite decision. Even if you have to review and change it later down the line, you need to give yourself enough time to implement that decision. So decide, commit, which means get yourself a structure, get it in your diary, talk to the people you need to talk to so that that can happen effectively for you, and then actually do it. And be consistent in your messages and guard that time so you can really focus and get concentrated effort in, because I don't believe you have to work full time to run a successful business. You can decide what's going to be best for you. So that's today, really thinking more about the work-life balance. Tomorrow I'm going to focus on prioritising in business. But I decided to do this first because until you've got this, until you've got decisions made and commitments and you've got something set up and you're working through it, it's really difficult to prioritise your business stuff, because you're constantly going to get interruptions and get distractions and things that aren't necessarily to do with business. Excellent. Okay, if you're catching this on the replay, hello, please share out to your Twitter followers, your Facebook followers, and invite your own followers, and I shall see you same time tomorrow, so 1 o'clock UK time. Bye for now.